Dear Diary, dear Diary, before I hang myself or I'm murdered by the government or some of the other scumbags I expose, because that's what I've done since I was a little boy, I really don't like evil, I really don't like bullshitters or hypocrites, and I've always stood up to them while everybody else enables them. Whoa, that's great, outside being lifted. Whoa. Today, we're going to examine some of my photography. Sadly, after I'm gone, no historian can ever know what I did. Most of Da Vinci's notebooks were thrown into the trash. I am about 5,000 times more prolific than Da Vinci. I've also accomplished a lot more in 1 year than Da Vinci did in 100. I produce shocking amounts of art, and that is despite the fact that everyone tries to destroy my life every week. I've been thrown in jail over 38 times on false charges, and so on and so on. And all of my best friends have worked together and united to destroy almost all of my art to make sure there's no evidence that I was a great artist. So after I hang myself, they will not look as guilty. They don't want the world knowing we fucking murdered this guy. We murdered our best friend out of cowardice. Think of me as Anne Frank and all of them as Germans. They're like, oh, we've got to get rid of this. Any sign, burn her diary, because if her diary comes out, we look bad. Of course, her diary doesn't explain who turned her in. My diaries do. So we want to look at some of our art before. Oh shit, TV's coming on. I'm in a storefront. Fuck. Shit, we may have to continue this in a moment elsewhere. But so what we're going to do is look at some of my photographs today to show you one more example. Right, so let's go through some of my photos. I am one of the world's greatest photographers. You can't put my stuff against Man Ray. Most of my photography in my life has been destroyed. Not by my enemies, by my allies, by my closest friends, by the Trachtenbergs, by super cute people like that. Let's look through some of my photographs. I'm trying to record, dear diary, but I'm using a MacBook, an expensive top-of-the-line MacBook. And do you know what that means? It means it's a piece of shit that glitches up a motherfucking storm. So we're supposed to be going through my photography to show you just examples. Now, you have to remember, 99% of my brilliant art was destroyed. Destroyed, hard drives destroyed. Let's not go there right now. Let's first go through some photographs. Let's try and move fast. The first one here is one of my favorites, car and beer. I noticed, because I'm smarter than everybody else and more observant than everybody else and way ahead of everybody else, and I always have been, I noticed one day that a car taillight looks like the bottom of a pint glass. Now, unlike a lot of people, I don't use Photoshop. When I'm doing my photography, I like to use tricks of the human imagination, tricks of my fingers, because anyone can do Photoshop. So some of the shit you're going to see, you're going to think, holy fuck, that's got to be Photoshop. Nope, it's not Photoshop. Now let's explain it. Car beer. There's nothing about this photo that's been doctored except they've been put next to each other. Do you understand that? Those are just regular photographs. What the fuck is going on here? Wait a second. Fucking goddamn. That photo's brilliant. Look, it's brilliant. It's more clever than anything Man Ray did. Don't take my word for it. Go back, go Google some Man Ray. He's a fucking hack. All he was the first guy in the pool. That's it. Look at this next photograph. Oh my God. It's some of the Haunted Pussy promo shots I did. What you're looking now is at Bilge Byron. Look at the tricks. You're like, that's got to be Photoshop. That's crazy. Look at the refractions and stuff. Nope. I used a 50-cent clear plastic magenta cigarette lighter. And I shot through that with a fucking $80 shitty fucking Kodak digital camera. Brilliant. Brilliant. That's greater than almost any other photographer in history, that one photograph alone. And look at it, the crazy refractions, the colors, the way it bounces off the magenta cigarette lighter. Brilliant. These next photos, look, again, Haunted Pussy shot through a 50-cent cigarette lighter to create bizarre effects. Brilliant, gorgeous. I cannot fucking believe it. I still look at these photos fucking 8 years later and go, oh my fucking God. Look at this. The only thing I did was I made triptychs out of it with the three members of Haunted Pussy side by side. That I photoshopped in, okay? Or whatever. Fucking God damn it. Everything's going wrong because fucking goddamn life is fucking annoying when you have to juggle 5,000 chainsaws because everyone, remember, you cannot find a human being in history ostracized or persecuted as much as me. Okay? Oh, and Frank was killed by the Germans 38 times? I don't think so. Let's move on. Oh, look here. This is from a series I did like 10 years ago with using vodka bottles. There I'm shooting my ex-girlfriend through a vodka bottle. That's it. So it just creates this fucked up effect. I've got better photos, but I'm not going to find them, so fuck you. Here's one of my zillion amazing self-portraits. That's me through a vodka bottle. See? So it's not only an interesting photograph, but it's conceptually interesting because my whole life I should be looking through it through vodka-colored glasses. This next photo, I love this one. I shoot a whole bunch of things down the bottle tops, down their gullets. I'm a visionary. I see lots of interesting things, and I say, let me take a picture of that. We were in Scotland, the Fringe Festival, and it took me like 5 shots. I'm like, I'm going to capture this. And I captured it. I nailed it. It took me like 5 tries. I nailed it. Look at this photo of the inside of a Coke can. It's fucking brilliant. It looks like there's been some kind of Photoshop. Nope. You even get the reflection of the little tab I dropped in there bouncing off the sidewall. Genius. This next photo is just a bottle of water. That's it. But it looks gorgeous. This next photo is just a bottle of beer, but it looks like you're looking down your esophagus. This next photo is beautiful. It's just a fly trap in an ex-girlfriend's bathroom, in a storefront in the Lower East Side. Look at that. The fact that I said that. Now, most people go, oh, gross to the side. I'm like, no, that's a masterpiece. I'm going to take that. I'm going to photograph it with the green wall in the background. Gorgeous. This next photograph, mind-boggling. What you're looking at isn't any kind of super tricks. I took a Halloween fiber optic pumpkin, and one of the techniques I use, which I don't think you're going to see any other examples of, is my shaking a camera. What I do is I find out what the camera can and can't do, and what it can't do, well, then I'm going to use that to my advantage. I'm going to make lemon meringue pie out of lemons, and I'm going to make some gorgeous, gorgeous photographs by shaking the camera and taking advantage of the fact that the camera doesn't work quickly enough, or does, but it can't process it. And so I took this fiber optic Halloween pumpkin, and I would shake the camera as I was pushing to snap. And I would twist it, I would spin it, I would move it left to right. I do all these kinds of rhythmic variations to create incredible effects. This one, you see that spinning effect, that's just the fiber optics. That's fucking mind-blowing. And this next photograph will show you. There you see the pumpkin. You can see some of the pumpkin face. What I did there is I shook the camera back and forth as I slid my arm towards the camera to create that it's coming at you effect. Do you understand it? It's fucking mind-boggling. This next photo is part of my rotographic series from the 1980s and 1990s. What I did was I had a shitty old school camera before they had digital shit, and I would take pictures of buildings with the sky just right, because then I would take that photograph and I would make a copy of it, and I would flip it, and to make it look like a space station in the sky. Now, this one's not particularly good, but I can't find all my shit. Most of my shit's been destroyed. But you get the idea, where it looks like this weird abstract building or some fucking brick skylab over the earth or something. This next one's even better. Look at that. It's like some weird ass. I don't do a mirror. I'm not trying to go for a mirror. I'm going for a rotograph, the opposite of a mirror effect. The first one was kind of mirror effect by accident. The second one is a little more accurate. Neither one of these are not really top of the notch examples of this. The technique is gorgeous. The rotograph, the rotated photograph, to make it look like there's buildings floating in the sky or things like that. These are not really that accurate examples, but still very lovely. Next is my series where I like to shoot inside of snack bags and things like that. First one, I like to call it the goldfish brain. Looks like a brain a little bit. It's in the inside of a goldfish bag. That's all I'm shooting. The next one is pretzels, of course. It's a pretzel cave. It's delightful. That's just the inside of a bag. Not as easy as you think. People have told me this. I spent an hour last night trying to photograph the inside of a chips bag, and I couldn't pull it off like you did. The next one is a popcorn bag cave. That one's not as good. Again, I wish I could find you my greatest hits. The next one is just a glass of a cup of Pepsi. But what I do, another technique I use that I invented, because I'm a pioneer, I don't steal other people's ideas. I've never had any training. I've taught myself everything I do, and I just invent new ideas. What I've done there is, because I don't like flash often, but you need some kind of light, what I did was I would shoot the flash through my skin. You put your finger over the flash, or your hand over the flash, so the flash will blast through your flesh, the blood and the vessels, and create a red flash effect. It also sometimes disperses the light in interesting ways. Look at that. That's lovely. Now you think, it's not that big a deal. Well, go ahead, shoot it yourself. Grab yourself a cup of Pepsi, in ice and shoot it. It's going to take you a couple hours before you fucking get something that beautiful. This next photograph is one of my zillion self-portraits that's dazzling. Look at that. There I'm in a storefront. I painted the walls. And I had a fan on because it was hot in summer. And I'm like, shit, let me take some pictures of my hair blowing in the wind. Lovely. The next one is Mr. Brooke Shields from Haunted Pussy. More self-portraits. There you can see, if you look closely, I put the camera on the bed with a timer. 10-second timer, and then did action shots of myself. That's a pretty crazy fucking shot. Thank you very much. All by myself. When I had nobody else working with me, I produce amazing shit. People always say that, oh, why are so many projects fucked up? Well, look, how many of them involved somebody else? That's right. There's never been a project I've done by myself that was fucked up. Not once. It's when you introduce stupid retard humans, which is most humans, who fuck up everything they touch and destroy everything they fucking touch. When no one else is around, I produce amazing art. Look at this. I just put the camera on the staircase, whip my hair to make it look like an action shot. Dazzling. The next one, dazzling. The next one is my original Mount Everest on 63 Pitt Street. Pretty awesome shot, me on my fretless Rickenbacker bass. The next shot is, again, me of my fretless Rickenbacker bass. Lovely. The next shot is, again, I like to play games with flashes. Here I'm shooting, I think my girlfriend was holding, or maybe I guess I would have had to have her hold the thing there. You should see some of the nudes. I can't show you some of the most innovative nude photography I've done, or some of the really sexy photography I've done. I can't show that because YouTube will ban it, because this isn't Europe. We live in West Iran, which is known as the Nazi States of America, where you don't have free speech, and nudity is considered very taboo. Oh my God, the naked body. If God had intended us to be naked, we would have been born that way, say the religious freaks. Fuck them. Here what I'm doing is, it's a bathtub. I'm bouncing the flash off my hand. Not bouncing the flash through it. I'm bouncing it off. So the flash only bounces to the left. See, then it bounced off the white of the bathtub and illuminated the spraying water. She was holding the spray into the air to create the water. And then I bounced the flash around the back of it to create an innovative effect. Look at this next photograph. It's just I was in my storage unit, well, it was Delfino's storage unit, and I was getting out some of my stuff I had put there temporarily. Look at that. That's just a guitar neck on my guitar, my first guitar that broke, my amazing electric guitar that broke. For me to just stand it up on the floor there with the wall, look at, you have to notice the composition. My composition is impeccable often. See the wall behind it and the wall to the left of it. Now, to have the frets, and then you have the floorboards, and then you have the ribs of the wall behind it. The composition, magnificent. Oh, next is another photograph of the ex-girlfriend through a vodka bottle. Look at that. You could see the rest of the room around her, and it was just her face. What control, what magnificent control. The next is another one of my lovely self-portraits. Just up the nose, get the pointy nose with the ceiling that I had painted in my old apartment in Mount Everest. The next photograph is another of the greatest self-portraits ever. Just my nose with my beard stubble. Fantastic. Oh, this next series I really love. Really creepy. Really creepy. I called it Veto Flytrap because I was doing experiments. Everything I do is art science. Art science is where you, like a scientist in a laboratory, you're like, well, what if I do this with the guitar? What if I do this? What happens? And you document everything you do, and you produce mind-boggling shit. Because I don't just produce innovative things. I use those innovations in ways where I execute it dramatically well. This photograph you see here, everyone creeps him out. It looks like some creepy undersea creature. It's hilarious because I systemically shot up my face, incrementally moving the camera little by little by little to create different shadow effects. Creepy and amazing. Revolutionary. Look at these. These are some creepy-ass photographs. Veto Flytrap, I nicknamed it. There was a whole series. That's one of the things that hurts me the most, is my breadth of creativity, my breadth of skill. It goes so far in every direction that you can't possibly wrap your minds around what I do. People are like, what are you? Do I say I'm a photographer? Do I say I'm an experimental photographer? Well, that leaves out 99% of what I do. That doesn't include my choreography, my architecture. It doesn't include my films, my screenplays, my graphic novels. It doesn't include my fashion innovations. It doesn't include my political innovations. It can't include my fucking drumming innovations, my composition innovations, my lyrical innovations. I am, without a doubt, the smartest and most creative person of all time. Which means it is impossible to capture me. Right? Well, imagine someday after I'm gone, if Wikipedia wants to do a page on me, it's going to have to be 900 billion pages. I'm like Da Vinci times a million. I'm like the top 5,000 artists combined, only a lot better. Do you understand the dilemma? So this is why people are like, why aren't you rich and successful? You're brilliant at everything you do. Well, how could I possibly be? There's not enough hours in the day for me to do my shit. I would have to focus, say, just on my guitar playing. because I'm the best guitar player in the world. If I just focus on my guitar playing, I'd be very rich. But that means I would have to stop doing photography, stop doing architecture, stop doing politics, stop doing drumming, stop my bass innovation, stop my synthesizer innovation, stop my piano innovations, kill 99% of my art. Do you see the dilemma, the catch-22? My entire life has been impossible. It has to be impossible. How can you produce 700 million years of work in 100 years? It's not possible. So sometimes, for instance, you'll notice most of my recordings of my music is garbage. It's half-assed because I'd rather put out 1 billion of my recordings that are half-assed than 3 recordings that are flawlessly done. My life is impossible. Now, compounded by the fact that I've gone to jail falsely more than anybody else in history, that I've been fucking violated, had my art smashed and destroyed by more people than anyone else in history. You cannot fathom my life. I cannot fathom my life, and I've lived this fucking life. It is insane what I have been through. No human has ever been through. I have 7 trials pending for misdemeanor speech that was protected speech clearly. That's why the government will not go to trial for 3 years and counting. They make me go to court every month and fight with my lawyers every month and every month and every week and every week and every month and every week and every week. And they've only been doing this for 21 years. Do you understand the fucking agony of my life? That's why I have to kill myself, but I want to get some of this fucking shit documented so people will know, oh my God, the Trachtenbergs murdered the greatest artist of all time. I mean, I don't even go into all my other innovations. I try to keep it simple so you people can understand. Guitar, bass, drums, architecture, fashion, choreography, and so on and so on and so on. Politics. You guys can understand that. You can't understand a lot of my innovations because they're so progressive. People see like my situational art and they're like, this is fucking hilarious. But it doesn't fit a category. Like, I'm in a fucking karaoke bar right now where they hung up my cartoon of one of the owners. And you can't call it a great cartoon. It's the situationalism that makes it great. The context of it that makes it great. Like some of my photos you'll see aren't great unless you know how I made the photograph. It's the context. Now let's keep moving quickly. Checking to make sure this piece of shit is still recording. Stopping to pause, save. Here's just some crazy shots I took of this hairless cat. Set up the thing, shut the flash in ways, bounce the flash off my hands again so the flash isn't from the front, which is usually whitewashes it out. If you notice, or sometimes I'll use clip lamps or whatever I can. I'm the most ghetto, brilliant artist of all time. Everything I do couldn't be much more low-tech. 50-cent cigarette lighter? You've got photographers using $10,000 lenses and fucking filters. I'm using a 50-cent cigarette lighter because I'm better than everybody else. And I'm not glad. I wish I wasn't so great. I wish I was just a great guitarist because then I could relax and fuck beautiful teenage girls and tour the world and have fun. I wouldn't... When you're as creative as me, it's like, shit, there's only 24 hours tomorrow. Fuck, how am I going to get the 500,000 hours I have to do just tomorrow? Everything I do is impossible. So remember that. Even if everything in my life was wonderful and I was born a rich kid who had all the resources I needed, I couldn't do 1% of my art because the human imagination is limitless. Literally, the human imagination is limitless. I have tens of thousands of notes of all kinds of artistic innovations and experiments and stuff that I will never get around to doing because I had every minute of my life destroyed by assholes like the Trachtenberg Family Slideshow Players, or the District Attorneys, or Mayor Bloomberg, or Mayor Giuliani, or my fellow reporters, or my editors at newspapers who fucked me over, or the former employers who robbed me blind. I have had the worst life of anybody in history, and I challenge you anytime, any place, and we'll go down the list, and you go, well, I didn't know that. And I'm like, no shit, then why'd you give your opinion? Well, I didn't know that either. That changes everything. Well, if you don't know all the facts about my life, then you'd be stupid to doubt me, wouldn't you? So stop it. Now let's move on. Cat, this is the cat, I forget the name, Flacco. Those aren't that spectacular. I'm just photographing a really crazy cat in kind of a really crazy way. The next one is just a tinfoil thing for a XAR, which was one of Portnoy's projects. I just carved into the tinfoil. It's nice, though. More shots of bottles. These aren't some of the better ones, but these were the first ones I grabbed of me shooting down bottles. You get so many gorgeous images. Takes me 1 second to create a masterpiece. This next photo, it's just I had this thing and I had some tinfoil and I was like, let me shoot through my flesh and see if I can get something nice to use for an album cover. Oh, here's where we really get to the flesh technique. Ooh, look at this. Now, you all know what an ordinary tinfoil looks like, right? Ordinary tinfoil looks like silver. So what I did was I crumpled it up. Then I shot it through my flesh from the side while I had other light on it. So what you're looking at is colors produced artificially by me. The reds are my flesh. That's the flash going through my skin and my blood vessels. That's how you got all the reds and the oranges. The whites and the silvers are produced by letting a little bit of the flash leak out the side of my finger or my hand. So it bounces and illuminates the other side of the tinfoil crumpled. Do you see that? I'm using the flash simultaneously for two different sets of colors by just releasing a little bit of white flash, but shooting most of it through the red flesh. Brilliant. Man Ray? Are you going to tell me Man Ray didn't have the technology back then? Oh, you didn't have fingers? Is that what you didn't have? I hate when people say like, whoa, you do these amazing tricks with guitar, but and Eddie Van Halen and Hendrix didn't do it because why? They didn't have fresh dimes in 1968? Yes, they did. Hendrix just didn't have any imagination. Eddie Van Halen just didn't have that much imagination or that fucking adventurous spirit that I have. The golds in the photograph, I think, are the desk lamp, because I put the tinfoil down on the couch and had a desk lamp near it. Look at this next one. Oh my God, the textures. Now, it was my idea to crumple it up to create multiple things. Now, you want to see me I do a lot of crazy shit just with this tinfoil experiment that I spent like an hour on. The next one, whoa, it looks pretty different from the last one, doesn't it? Because now what I've done is I've folded ridges into it. Now, I've taken the crumpled tinfoil, but I've folded creases and ridges into it. It looks like some kind of glacial thing, right? That's great. It's just a piece of flat tinfoil, but I've manipulated it physically. I don't use Photoshop tricks here. Now, look at how radically different that photo is with its blues. All you're getting there is the light from the computer monitor. The next photo is again through my flesh. Whoa, it looks radically different. The same piece of tinfoil looks radically different. The reds, again, all through my flesh. I didn't leak that much white light there. This next one, you see, look at the golds. I've shot, now, if you look closer, you'll see I've created ridges, like ribs in it, to fuck up the light patterns. Look closer. Do you see that? There are fins of tinfoil in one sheet of tinfoil made to create compartmentalization of the flash. You see, the right half is all very white and silver. That's where I let the flash leak out and bounce off a wall. Because if it was direct, it'd be too bright. So you have to bounce that flash off a wall to make it not so bright and direct. And then we have mostly, I think that gold is from the lamp. This next photograph still shocks me and drops my jaw. Look at this photo. Look at that photo. It looks like a cave, a tunnel, a cave, with somebody walking far from the entrance of the cave. Look again. It's an ordinary piece of tinfoil that I rolled into a tube, and then I aimed it at a wall. Holy fuck, that is just an ordinary piece of tinfoil. But I am the greatest artist of all time. Now remember, I could make my name on just some of these techniques. I have thousands, and you're only going to see a couple today. You're only going to see a few examples of my masterful works of art. Outrageous. And to think 99% of my output is gone permanently. And every day, these people are blocking me from creating new art. You're looking at art that was made years ago, decades ago, etc. Because I can't make new art very often. Because I spend all of my time on legal shit. Because I had the misfortune of being born in the most corrupt time in mankind's history. This next photograph is, this is photoshopped. If you look closely, the photo in the middle is just a dashboard of a rent-a-car. But I thought it looked so much like a face, I took a photograph of it. And then I manipulated it with the tux and stuff like that, some really cheesy Photoshop I did. Because remember, I have to make my art in minutes, because I can't spend more than minutes on a particular piece of art. Because I have over 800 million works of art to do. And that's just guitar. I have over 400 million works of art just on drums. You think I'm exaggerating? Well, bring it on. The very fact that I have 7 criminal trials pending for speech should tell you maybe this guy isn't hyperbolic. Maybe he has the most outrageous life of all time. And everything about my life is outrageous. Starting from the moment I was born, you should hear the shit I've gone through. Like I said, when I was 14, it was like, it's going to take 500 autobiographies. to describe my life up to the age of 14. And every year since has been exponentially crazier and more insane and more outrageous and more unprecedented. This next photo is not that interesting. I forget what I did there. Just a light bulb. Well, not that interesting. I don't know why I threw that one in. This next one is just a drawing of mine with a Sharpie. But again, it changes it by bouncing a flash through my flesh. It's white and black. The real drawing is white and black. You're looking at it tainted and colored with flesh. Let's wrap this up. Here's a photo. I love this photo. Look closely at that. At first you're going to go, what the fuck is that? And you're slowly going to realize, oh, it's just my cocktail. But I'm such an artist, I put the cocktail up against a red wall and tilted it to get all these crazy colors and textures. Gorgeous. And this next photo, you get a better close, more conventional photograph to show you. It is just a red wall with a light green or aquamarine or whatever, turquoise cocktail. I don't even remember what kind it was. With some fruit in it. Gorgeous. I mean, shall I go on? You wouldn't believe. Of course, remember, most of my greatest photographs ever were all stolen last year because everybody fucked me up. And they ended up in a dumpster somewhere, and we'll never see them again. There are no copies. There's nothing. There may be a couple negatives buried somewhere in a box, somewhere, who knows. Gone forever. Every work of art, oh, not every work of art, but almost every work of art I've made is greater than almost anybody else's greatest works of art. I'll put my shit against the Mona Lisa. There's not many photographs in here that are worse than the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa is not a great work of art. The Last Supper is not a great work of art. Most of Picasso's shit is garbage. Picasso's shit is pricey and acclaimed because it's by Picasso. We could take any artist tomorrow. You can take a fucking outsider artist who doesn't even know how to do art. You write about him in the New York Times tomorrow. Suddenly, he's an instant celebrity overnight. Then everyone else says he's hot shit. Everyone else writes about him. That creates hype. Then everyone else says, that guy's a big shot because I read about him in the New York Times, which creates more hype. So everywhere he goes, people are like, psst, psst, that's the guy he's an amazing artist. They don't think his art's amazing, but everyone else said his art was amazing, and so they don't want to be the odd man out, so they say his art's amazing too. That's how our world of hype works. Nothing is based on merit. Well, a few things are, but most things are not. Jessica Simpson is not the greatest singer of all time. She's just one of the richest because our world is dirty and corrupt. Do you understand that, dear diary? Do you understand the agony that I live in each day as my art? You cannot comprehend. I cannot comprehend. I live my life. I'm the only person who knows the fucking 40,000 songs I've written. Nobody's even heard 5,000 of my 40,000 plus songs. I know them all. I know all the melodies. I know the killer riffs. I know all the brilliant lyrical ideas. And the world is never going to hear those 40,000 songs because there's not enough hours in the day for me to record them. Some of them are written down here. People will someday even if historians, if they got 5,000 historians to go over all of my archives, you're not going to catch any of the shit because you're not going to comprehend it. You're going to see a note that explains some of the things and you're not going to realize those are lyrics. You're not going to realize, oh, that's about how the guitar part goes. You're not going to understand the shit because I do not traffic in fucking pedestrian thinking. I don't say, well, I'm going to compose this like Bach composed it, and they compose, and then the historians in the future can look at it and go, oh, that's a really clever chord arrangement. They're not going to. I created my own notation systems that nobody else on earth can read. Everything I do is autodidactic. I didn't go to college. I barely went to high school. I've taught myself everything. Nobody's ever helped me. My friends are no help. I had to teach myself Photoshop, for fuck's sake, which is kind of good and bad. It means, of course, even if I learned stuff in college, my tendency is to violate all the rules. You know what I mean? So even if I was schooled, I'm going to break all the rules. So it's not like say, well, there's something to be said. If you don't know the rules, then you create your own ideas and rules. I would do that anyhow. So it's fucked if we do, fucked if we don't. You will never know 1% of my art, and it's all gone forever. Well, 99% of it's gone forever because of the Trachtenberg Family Slideshow Players and Super Cute. They are number one in destroying my art and music, and I want to make sure they don't escape. They should at least get the credit for destroying all my art and all my music. I want them to go down in history. I want the world to know what they did last summer. All right? This has just been one example of some of my art. I don't claim to be the greatest photographer on earth. I claim to be one of the greatest. Top 5. Because there were some amazing photographers. Like, I'm easily the greatest guitarist. I'm easily the greatest drummer. I don't claim to be the greatest piano player. I'll never be the greatest piano player. Because, for instance, I have physical limitations. My hands are small. That affects you playing piano. It really does. And so, I'm not just boasting. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. I'm not the greatest at everything. I'm not the greatest kisser. Well, I'm one of the greatest kissers. I'm not the greatest lover. because I didn't dedicate myself to being the greatest lover, fucking girls' brains out the best, all right? There's lots of things I'm not very good at, all right? Now, I could be if I practiced, but that's not going to happen. And some things, people have a natural knack for, some people don't. I was born brilliant, so I don't take any credit for that. And I don't take credit for the fact that I'm adventurous, all right? I don't take credit. My point is simply this. I am the greatest at many things, and I'm the greatest artist of all time overall. And almost all of my art's been destroyed. And so I'm going to try and do videos before I kill myself, because I can't take this anymore. You don't know what it's like to see your children be murdered every day. You don't know what it's like you don't know what it's like to work for 40 hours on a work, to have it destroyed by your best friends. I shot the greatest porn film of all time, and twice I edited it. And my first girlfriend destroyed it, and my second girlfriend destroyed it. The greatest porn film of all time. Everything. I'm not interested in making a good graphic art novel. I'm not interested in making one of the best graphic novels. I make the best because I'm the most innovative, the most intelligent, the most creative, blah, blah, blah. And most artists imitate the past. I have no interest in the past. I'm only interested in the future. And so that right there, I have to be the greatest artist of all time. I have to be the greatest political mind of all time. I have to, just by default. If you're not going to repeat any of the mistakes of the past, you have to be the Messiah. You have to be advanced. You have to be. I'm not just a pioneer. Being a pioneer is not that special. You could be the first person, Lewis and Clark, to travel America. That's not special. I mean, it's a little more special than the person sitting on the couch, but it's not particularly impressive. So what? Somebody had to be the first person to walk across the country. Not impressive. Oh, you're the first person to sail across the ocean by yourself. Somebody had to do it. Not interesting. Not talented. Nah. So fuck you. Remember that. When I'm dead and gone, remember who murdered me. I could be making tons of money and living a great life, but I was murdered. Not by my enemies. I was murdered by my friends. Even all the political stuff. You say, well, no, that's not true. The government arresting you and stuff destroyed a lot of your art. No, because the only reason I was arrested in the first place was because all my allies stood me up. All my fellow reporters at the New York Times and the Daily News turned their backs on me and said to the police, go for it. If my backup had backed me up, I wouldn't have been arrested once. If I had backup, none of my art would have been destroyed. But I had no backup because even my good friends betrayed me and stabbed me in the back, so I couldn't back up my art. So I couldn't produce my art. You have no idea. You cannot comprehend the depths of destruction and evil I have witnessed. Just remember this one fact. I'm the only person you know who's wanted to die since they were 5. Now, why would a good-looking, super talented 5-year-old who's admired by everybody want to die? That should tell you how fucking bad my life was from the first minute. And it's been downhill since. I struggle every day to create my art. And it's pointless. It's all fucking pointless. Because your human race is savage. And you're worth nothing. And we all pray that a meteor happens and fucking destroys all of you and wipes away all signs of humanity. You people are monsters. And if I had a button tomorrow I could push that would torture you for 1 trillion years and make you bleed for 1 trillion years, I would. Because your evil is unprecedented and your evil is incomprehensible. Hell, we can't even comprehend the amount of human evil in a 24-hour period. 7 billion people doing endless evil acts to each other. Because that's all you humans do, is you use each other and you fuck each other over. Fuck you. Fuck you. And I hope you suffer every day of your life, you fucking scumbags. Because you better pray I don't get any money. Because if I ever do get success and money and I don't kill myself, I'm hunting down every single person who hurt my art. You hurt my children? Wait till you see what I do to you. Because my art is my children. And to make sure you understand this, because you won't, my art is more valuable than a child. Anyone can produce a child. And children aren't worth anything because they're a dime a dozen. My art can't be replicated by anybody else and never will be. My art lives forever. It's much more valuable than a human life. Humans are only going to last for fucking 100 years. They're disposable. My art is permanent. You murdered over 800 million of my children. And the people like the Tracttenberg say, let it go. All right. When I fucking destroy your lives, we'll see if you let it go. Right? If Harry Stuckey says, move on. Really? If I peeled your flesh off and blinded you, would you move on? Barack Obama says, forget what Bush and Cheney did. We gotta move on. Really? Really, Barack? Because I'm not going to, but I wish I was going to. How about we try it? Let's see if Barack Obama believes what he says. We'll peel his flesh off. We'll pour salt on all of his bleeding muscles. We'll fucking smash him in the face 500,000 times. And we'll then say, are you feeling okay? Because you said let it go. And then we'll rape his family in front of his eyes and then slice them up. And then we'll say, have a nice day, Barack Obama. I bet you he doesn't get released and go, well, I better rebuild my life. I bet he says, I'm getting a gun, I'm gonna buy. He's a fucking lying hypocrite. Everyone is, except for me, and it's fucking lonely being the only human being on earth who cares about right and wrong. Remember, after I'm gone, people, if you care at all about art, if you care at all about free speech, if you care at all about justice or truth, you will hunt down every person who tortured me every day of my life. I've been in tears every day of my life, and I'm gonna make sure the fucking Nazi scumbags who murdered me over and over again cry every day of their life. I want them to cry every minute of their lives. And it still won't even come close to what they did to me. You do unto others, and if they do unto you, you do unto them as they did unto you. I wish I could kill them now, and I'll tell the jury, and the jury will applaud, and they'll say, thank God you murdered those fucking scumbag murderers. We have a right to self-defense. You murdered me, you murdered my family, I'm gonna fucking murder you. You fucking scumbags. Watch out. Pray I kill myself. Because if I don't, I'm coming to get you.